Morning again, year four. Let's move on to our English. So as a quick starter, can you choose two of our focus words that we've been looking in SPAG throughout the week and use them in a sentence in your neatest handwriting? This could be possess, possession, quarter, whichever ones you perhaps are most struggling with, or the ones that you're not really too sure how to use them in a sentence. So you're really just going to take your time on those two sentences. And then after that, join us on the next slide. So, cast your minds back to the Beowulf story. What happened in the Beowulf story? Can you break it up into the 5 sections of the story? Think to what happened right at the start, and then what happened to all of the people in the Great Hall, in the Grand Hall, and then how was that problem resolved, and what was the ending? Just try and think back to that as we continue. Normally, we would spend a day planning our version of Beowulf, but for ease, we're going to sort of just do mini planning, but through my writing as we go along. So, as we know, we do 3 extended writes per writing focus. So you've already done your cold task. You've already written your very own independent Defeat the Monster Tale. The second one we do is together. We create our shared write, we discuss ideas, and we change just a few things about the story and make it our own. And the third one is your hot task, your independent one that you've built on all of your knowledge. Okay, so we are going to be adapting Beowulf. Let's remind ourselves of the beginning and build up of Beowulf. Okay, chapter 1, A Great Hall. Long, long ago, Denmark was a wild place. Gruesome monsters roamed the misty moors. At night, they howled and growled and shrieked and snarled. The king of the Danes, a warlord named Hrothgar, refused to be scared. He built a huge hall for himself on top of a craggy hill at the edge of the moors. The hall was made of the finest wood, decorated with ivory, silver, and dazzling gold. The king called it Heorot. Each night, the king invited the bravest warriors to a lavish feast of roasted meats with jugs of frothing ale. The huge hall shook with singing and laughter. The men ate and drank until they fell asleep, safe together in the warmth. But outside, something evil was rising. If you're confident, once I've broken down the 4 key things here, you can try your chapter 1 for yourselves. Okay? So, that covers the beginning and build-up. We are given, as a first little section, some background location information. So here, this is quite a simple one here. Long, long ago, Denmark was a wild place. Gruesome monsters roamed the misty moors. At night, they howled and growled and shrieked and snarled. And then secondly, we are introduced to a character, in this case, the King of the Danes. So it says, the King of the Danes, a warlord named Hrothgar, refused to be scared. He built a huge hall for himself on top of a craggy hill at the edge of the moors. The hall was made. Okay, at that point, we get a little bit more information about the location. Remember, you've already done a bit of assessing description for the castle, so you can use that in this opening. Reflect on that learning, build on that learning. The hall was made of the finest wood, decorated with ivory, silver, and dazzling gold, and the king called it Heorot. And now we've got a really happy, positive atmosphere until a bit of suspense. Each night, the king invited the bravest warriors to a lavish feast of roasted meats with jugs of frothing ale. The huge hall shook with singing and laughter. The men ate and drank until they fell asleep, safe together in the warmth. But outside, something evil was rising. ... That cliffhanger. We're hinting at something bad. We're hinting that our problem is going to start in chapter 2. Again, use those 4 steps. Pause it on this slide. Have a go yourself, using this as a bit of a structure for you, using this to help you. Or take my help on this slide here. I've kept those 4 key points, and I've created my own where I've changed just a few small things. Magpie, parts that you like, and see if you can create your own beginning and build up. Tomorrow, we'll be focusing on the problem section. If you don't quite finish this today, that's fine. Finish the build up tomorrow and then continue with a problem. Just make sure it's your best quality writing, okay? So let's read Mr. Arnold's example here. Chapter 1, a captivating castle. So everything in red is my background information. I've padded mine out a little bit more. Many centuries ago, the picturesque scenery of the Cotswolds was far from what we see today. We know very little of its history, and most of what we do know is based on local folklore. Ghost stories shared by a crackling campfire in the acres of land surrounding Sudley Castle. Ominous, disfigured creatures roamed the endless hills and forest. Wolves howled endlessly under the luminous nightly full moons. Ravens feasted on the fresh morning carcasses. And now I'm going to introduce a character. Nobody has visited the haunted land for over 200 years, until one brave yet foolish king chose it as his new place of winter residence. I've put brave yet foolish. I'm already hinting that something's going to go wrong without telling you why or what. I'm going to continue here. King Arthur did not believe in ghost stories to scare children or foolish peasants. The acres of land which lay beneath the grand castle was a perfect location for his livestock, and the castle was quite simply magnificent. Point number 3, how beautiful the location is inside or just in general of the castle. It was the United Kingdom's finest spectacle in daylight, and by night, the parties, celebrations and feasts were matched by no other castle across the land. Its design was flawless. A drawbridge, created from the finest oak in the south, would be lowered to greet the mesmerized visitors whom came from far and wide to greet the almighty King Arthur. By October, it was a national landmark. And now the final section, positive atmosphere, but hinting, leaving it on a cliffhanger of something quite negative, something scary, something ominous. However, not everything grand lasts forever, not even the castle of a king. All that could be heard inside the castle was laughter and joy, yet bubbling outside was the very potion of gloom every local farmer, cook, doctor and cleaner warned the king of. The winds were changing. Not all who visited the castle would return home, and it all started as the sun set on a late October evening. I've linked that to Halloween a little bit there without specifically saying Halloween. Hopefully you can use the model text here and an example I've created with the 4 key points to focus on the beginning and build up of your defeat the monster tales. Please don't introduce the monster at any point. That will come in our problem in tomorrow's lesson. Enjoy it. This is really descriptive, this part. Use your setting description that you've already created, and I look forward to seeing them. Well done.